Hello.
Hi.
Go. Okay, so we're in Dalit. Let's put this on here.
I hope you didn't say Tachnun today.
Happy Yud Beis Gil Kimul Thomas to you as well. Okay. Um,
They invited me to the Fabrang, but
okay. So we're in Dalit.
yes, sir.
Another very long one. Ooh, very long. It's like 2 pages. Okay, so Asavlanut, patience. And the Dreshis Mel Kibbutz Argoni, she. Which is very required in order to make an organic human society. Um, Not sure why organic comes in here, but Midas Chesed Anava, he says patience is associated with the midah of Chesed and Anava. Anoteka is called dinim, which sweetens all the judgments. But Nas Alom builds the world in its most possibly enhanced state. So this patience with Chesed and Anava requires for its cultivation. The midas of Chasidus Agdola, the midah of Chasidus in its greatness. Hayotzeis mitoch bina elokis, which comes out of a lofty, higher, divine understanding. Kufa and constant, very ongoing Chasidus. Dafka idei masha yimtzu bekerva machasidei yom. And specifically argues Rav Kook that by having within the nation the highest types of Hasidim, Chasim Elyonim Maod, and if that's not enough, he stresses very high Hasidim. That the divine understanding and the divine life fulfills all of their existence. Then the nation can be confident because in its spiritual strength, which is stockpiled in these individuals. On this basis, it can pay a careful eye, believe a proper heart, to all its practical needs. Without any, haradah is an interesting word, without any internal diminution and internal descent. Shema is by Yisyabesh. Do you have harada? Do you have harada?
I have Tharada.
What?
Tharada with a Ches.
With a ches.
Yes, sir.
Oh, that makes much more sense. Okay, that's one of the typos here then. Blikol harada means without any inner sphere. Shema is Yabesh Lasadeh. Probably should be Hasodeh. Do you have Lasadeh?
Yes, with a Lamed.
That's weird. Shema Yisyabesh Lasodeh. Oh, Lishda, not Lasadeh. Lishda. Maybe its moisture will dry. And they'll be made desolate in the spring of its spirituality. Okay, so all this is only with Chasidei Elyon do we have the sablanut, the patience, which is going to be able to stave off any loss of moisture, any desolation of the springs. Now, which gives the power of neshama, idealia, and which constitutes the ideal, which makes us into a nation and unique unit. Especially in our nation, that the spirit, the lofty spirituality of its ideology, which is all much higher than that world. I guess he means our world. Is the base of his. By us, when there's any movement of material freedom. In other words, rabbis are opposed to emancipation, right? Most rabbis, opposed to, except for Shams Hirsch and a few others like him, mostly Western Europeans, were opposed to Jews becoming free in the material sense. Okay, because when Jews are free, they go off, and therefore it's best for Jews to be subservient and persecuted. Okay, so Chovish Chomein is something which we don't like. Okay, so there, and also and they were very much against any emancipation. That's one of the reasons why the Alter Rebbe opposed the Napoleon, because
Yes.
Napoleon was going to emancipate the Jews, and that was a very bad thing. And they're also opposed to they're opposed to being addicted to avodah in matters which are not spiritual, but rather material, practical, and social. Okay, so any ism is a bad thing because this is detracting from their perspective. If nasba miyad rete pnimi is immediately an inner tremble. Shema tirdoa maasis, maybe this distraction in a practical matter, timaitis mayana, it's going to diminish or the will springs of spirituality. Shema koma shilsiva yishuv tikun. The more you fix this community, this society, you'll see if the mind will be destroyed, which is, this idea that is antithetical to the the commonly understood idea in non-Orthodox circles of Tikkun Olam, which is that Jews are supposed to be striving towards Tikkun HaYishuv. And the Orthodox perspective, as Kook is noting, is that Tikkun HaYishuv very often is at the expense of the Mayan HaSeichel, the wellsprings of the intellect, the wellsprings of Judaism in general. Okay. And we told Kach as a result, it says as though the Jews do their activities which are general and practical, half-heartedly, with half energy. Because they see that the Ruchnius becomes literally treif, but I think it means it becomes torn up. Because it becomes trapped in the like the chaz basvach, like entangled, ensnared in this materialism. Okay, so in other words, it works both ways. This is why everything is half energy, because the ruchnius becomes taruf because of its entanglement in the chomrius. And the material becomes weak because of the spirituality which gets mixed into it, right? So we have this problem, right? Which is anything we do half-heartedly when it comes to matters of this world, because we're afraid of the not complexities, the complications in terms of ruchnius. That we need really big chasidim, which are unique in the greatness of their perspective, or their ideas. Who fortify the spiritual stature of the generation within them. So I guess these great people, this is like the great man theory of history. These higher ones, Yodim, they know they know that they warehouse the spirit of the people, of the nation. So they're not concerned at the diminution of the spiritual wellsprings of the general nation, which is an amazing statement to make. You say that if you have the Yechidei Skula who are completely involved in Torah and preserving its values, so we're not concerned that the masses are going to go out and involve themselves in the fixing of this world. The positive spirituality will already diffuse in the nation on its own, based on its inner characteristics. By the illumination of these individuals, were the emissary, the agents of the entire congregation. Nosim Embla above them, and they carry in their hearts as a root the treasury of spirituality which sustains the entire nation. Hey Makarim, they recognize Kiskula, some millionaires that their unique qualities. Hiyatzar Kibbutzi is the collective treasury, shall close Uma of the totality of the nation. Fama Keretz Bohem, a nation recognizes them as Amoka Mukhubad in them, the lofty place, the Chosei Yosef claim for its most precious uh, um, properties, its most precious possessions. So therefore, the people give them honor and are fearful of them in the sense of an awe. Okay, so you can see this among maybe Orthodox people, but Rav Kook is saying that this is something which is intrinsic in all of Am Yisroel, and I think he means that there's this interplay between the people who are the great people of the generation and the masses. Maybe he only means the from masses. I don't know, but anyway, but it sounds like he's saying that the masses can be free to work on reality because the individuals are maintaining the flame and ensuring that it suffuses the rest of the nation. Okay, so
Okay.
I'm not making this up. I'm just saying what he
No,
says.
no, I'm reading it right along with you.
It's a very anti-democratic perspective. Obviously, Americans are totally put off by this kind of elitism, but this is it is a very elitist perspective from Rav Kook in order to justify the masses in going and doing what they're doing. So the Priest Elokim Ba'aretz Hi Gluya Dafka De'evdei Elokim Elyonim. The covenant of God and land is revealed specifically by the higher servants of God. V'agvra hachomris, and the power of this might in material pursuits. So it'll go and do its pathways and its orders. And it's confident that it won't desecrate the spiritual fountains. Because it has the people who preserve the wall in a higher sense.
The guardians on the ramparts.
Yes. So then the tolerance or the patience we're trying to say for is developed. So presumably he means there's a tolerance for patience for what otherwise would be considered deviation and dangerous now can be considered to be worthwhile and significant. In other words, getting involved in tikkun yishuv, which normally considered to be suspect and a deviation from what's going to maintain and fulfill Judaism and Jewish avodah, can now be acknowledged and supported. And also the few statements which come out from the mouths of the holy people. They give sustenance in a much greater flow. They give much more spiritual sustenance than many drashos and long books which are only mediocre. So you need mediocrity. The Chazon Ish is said to have said that the Mizrahi's problem is they made an ideal out of mediocrity. And what Rav Kook is saying is that, mediocrity is a very bad thing. If you have outstanding Torah leadership, then you can have people involved in all sorts of other activities. And we're okay. We can work with that. But if you have a lot of mediocrity, so then it's not going to work. And even the mediocrity expresses itself in many, many drashos, many long svarim. It's not going to help because you need to have the few words which come out from the great, from the giants. This is the praiseworthy or ideal situation which our nation has to strive to. And to be concerned to erected, betnuas tchiaso ad moso,
Mhm.
and the movement of its resurrection on or renewal on its land. Um, it gives an example for this, like from a marshal from Kahuna. Hakuna, the priesthood, I'm Sos ben Adam Elokim, the the intermediate stage between man and God, by the most chosen among human beings, and then Emtsaus, uh, um, not sure what it means, not Emtsaus.
And so sometimes means like a tool,
Yeah, but the ones that Kifa Haguna. It's not
but
intermediate. I think he means that it's not. It's not. I don't think it means a tool. I think it means it's not an intermediary,
mhm.
right? It's not an intermediary in the normal sense. Like since you talk about Chabad tonight, like the Rebbe said about his father-in-law, was not a memutza mafsik is a memutza mechaber, right? So the idea, and that's why his first sikha he said that you can still make requests of his father-in-law even though he's still dead. And now it'd be Dor Shalom Mesim normally, but he's different because the Mumutza Mechaber lasts even after death. So the Mumutza, so he's saying a similar thing, Rav Kook here, except it's not saying about a Rebbe. He's saying about Kohanim. It's saying that as an example of a Kifa Agunasa. Kifa means here something which clasps things together, a proper clasping together. Shadam Apratim Eskev Elokim, the when an individual person comes close to God, and he won't come close through his lower or insignificant powers, or by his inclinations, which are low and base, but rather by the loftiness within him. And I guess Kohanim will represent this El Yonut. Atzad El Yon Shabo Mamshichas Hakol Tzad HaChaim. So just like the Kohanim as a group, so do individuals in there with their inner higher side bring to everything L'Tzad HaChaim Abiyirim Elohim. So he says just like uh, uh, no, he's saying like this. He's saying just like Shadama Prati. מתחייב אלוקים, מהם מתחייב בדרך כלל עוזר בחוסים ודאי יוסף ושפלות, כי מידע ינוס ושבר כבו. צה"ל עליון שבו ממשיך לסרקות צה"ל חיים בימים אלוקים. כן, גם הארגון הלאומי. So too, the national organization, וגם האנושי, and also the human organization, in different ways, and then ואיננו יכול להזכיר אלוקים בקודנו, you can't get close to God in smallness. with weak forces. With its stormy and crazed feelings. So among the waves of the sensual life which craze it. The light, the divine light of small people is becomes smaller. By its reflection, its rebounding influence, it makes the world smaller and more impoverished. So therefore, a person causes to emanate a higher part from within himself on an individual level, from within his groups on a societal level. So he should be able to come clearly to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And now he combines the idea of a chassid and the idea of a Kohen, right? The Kohen HaChassid HaElyoni, the Kohen, who's the chassid, who's lofty, HaMalei Chesed B'dei Elyono, is full of chesed and higher perspective. He knows God in truth. And based on his perspective and his lofty senses, the entire nation is supported. At the times when a complete flow of life unifies the nation with the elite among its children. When the nation is then supported by their strength. Listens to their talk. With clear belief, which becomes clarified in a general force. Bargasha Behiro with a clear sense, a clear feeling. Bakar Kolel Samisna says to Akde Pituach? Pasuach? What do you have there?
Hamisnaseis lifamim ad kidei pasuach shel chachma.
I don't know, Pasuach.
Or pituach, maybe.
Whatever it is, it means. So then there's a clear feeling and a general recognition, which can be uplifted to open up wisdom, sifrus, literature, v'shira, and song. And the masses uplift these essential experiences to relate to the great of the nation, and it takes pride in their greatness. It was blessed in their blessing, and sanctified their sanctity, and gets strength for its work, which is material, social, and political. And full of strength and courage, it goes in its pathway. Yoder Borer knows Yoder Borer knows clearly. Shalokei Main. Interesting language.
Maybe Emain,
No,
trustworthy,
I mean
trustworthy.
the God with the God of its belief is Imun or something like that. It's like Imun. Okay, so until the Sora Kuna, so he goes back to Kuna here, but it's not talking about the fundamental concept of Kuna. He's explaining that you need to have this elitism. It's essential. The comes to the need for a hierarchy emerges from the depths of the inner feeling of the individual. He needs to have in his health an aspect of Kuna and in the nation aspect of Kuna. Pasuach aroch. I'm not sure again what he is using the word pasuach here, but by some great opening, long opening, will become revealed in all its light. And we, in our derech, which we're not concerned with long roads, we're going and paving at our own pace. So derech has this derech most alam, which started in ancient times, shalanu, in our ancient times, it's slow so. We don't forsake the memory of this idea of kuna, so we don't desist from looking for its perfection. Even though we suffered a lot from hierarchies before they worked out for the best. We had bitter experience with hierarchies. We know that also brings good, and we will probably will be doing good. Kohenes, to make their entire nation into a priesthood, without hierarchy. All wise, Nizira, all separated from the mundane, Dasokim, and knowing the divine. Pratel das atzmam, in its individuals on their own cognizance. It's not possible now. In a world which is built on those characteristics which you find in our world. Okay. Therefore, for the general, the divine spirit, which is on the general nation, we have the ambition now to have it that this Ruach Elokim will be revealed in its higher or limbs. Just like the higher feelings in a person, more noble feelings, they're revealed, which are in the organic nature of an individual. What is this word? Haku?
Havu?
How do you spell it?
A Beis Vav.
A Beis Vav. Okay, I have Haku. Havu Ometz. Give strength to the Del Yonah. For the higher perspective. To the radical pietism. Divine pietism. The lofty one. To love this way you'll give a place for tolerance and modesty. I'm not sure Savlanus and Anava. I understand the Savlanus of the great for the less great, but it sounds. But I'm not sure that Anava came in. Whose Anava is here? I don't know whose Anava it is.
I don't know.
I guess that the great ones have to have Anava in order to deal with the less great ones. So there should be capacity to work with strength in practical, social, political freedom. She's led Brachba Yisrael, which will go broad in Israel. This will be very much emphasized. And all the different hues, Hues, or shades of its life. Eretz Yisrael. I know Eretz Yisrael to be buried here, but I guess because that's where the ideal society will develop. Which is going and grow and blossoming and looking forward to a practical redemption or renewal, and to a Yeshua, which we will be able to sense very quickly. So this is a very radical piece. Okay, Rav Kook is saying
Yes.
that it's only if we have great people and the less great people, and we recognize hierarchy, recognize the idea of kuna, and recognize that they're how they work in a symbiotic relationship. Only then, and if the Hasidim have the Sablonis and Anova, and the Ketanim have the Yiras Aromus of the Gdolim, so then things work together, and emancipation and freedom are a good thing, not a bad thing. Okay.
Mm.
That's
the first time that's the first time he's ever sort of illustrated some sort of practical program.
Yes.
Or almost practical, you know.
And it's very
we
elitist.
need the guidance of the great people in order that the other people can be free, and freedom is possible with the guidance of the greats.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Nice. Yeah. Very interesting piece.
Have a good night.
Yes, you too. Take care.